want you to watch and listen to Senator Roger Wicker, Senate Armed Services Committee, interrogating the former four-star general who is now the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, and tell me if you think the secretary is credible.
With regard to your optimism about Ukraine having the upper hand, that is what you told me yesterday.
It is. Now, what I was about to say, Senator, is that Ukrainians have inflicted significant casualties on the Russians, and they have depleted their inventory of armored vehicles in a way that no one would have ever imagined. And so now we see Russia reaching for T-54s and T-55 tanks because of the level of damage that the Ukrainians have inflicted on them.
Reaching for those tanks demonstrates what to you, sir?
It demonstrates that their capability is waning. We've continued to witness them be challenged with artillery munitions and other things, and they're reaching out to Iran, to North Korea.
Do you believe there's a real chance for significant Ukrainian advancements between now and the beginning of winter?
I believe there's a chance, and we're doing everything that we can do to ensure that they have their best opportunity to be successful.
All right, Colonel. Believable or not, Tony, has he just disqualified himself from being any kind of a credible military leader, or was he disqualified before this nonsense? Does he believe what he's saying?
What he's saying is patently, provably false.
He's lying through his teeth, straight up lying. And I'm just telling you right now, Lloyd Austin, I'm calling you a liar.
We have killed integrity in the military. It just doesn't exist.
But he's under oath and he's testifying to Congress.
You're a liar, and you know you're lying. If you want to debate me on it, anytime, anywhere.
Here's an interrogation before the same committee, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. He does accuse Secretary Austin of lying.
Do you believe that you should have notified us that morning while we were voting on amendments directly related to this kind of attack?
There is no connection between when we notified you, Senator, and your vote. The chairman and I were testifying that morning as well. So as soon as we came out of testimony, we began work on crafting response options.
Secretary Austin, I don't believe you. You have a vast legislative operation, as Senator Wicker pointed out. Do you really expect us to believe that they didn't know that we were voting on a Rubio amendment that directly covered exactly this kind of attack? I don't believe that. I believe there's a conscious decision made not to inform Congress because you fear that it might lead to the passage of the Rubio amendment, which would kill the entire bill.
So I'm sure he's accusing Austin of something that probably happened, but doesn't mean I have much use for Senator Cotton. I don't have much use for most of the people on the Hill who have failed to tell the American people the truth about almost anything.
So lying is nothing new.
You're dealing with institutions that have essentially codified lying as an acceptable behavior. So it's very difficult for me to get excited over it.
Biden's about shaping perception. That's what Austin was trying to do there, shape perception. Reality's ready to come up and bite him in the butt.
Does Secretary Austin have a reputation in the military community for being truthful?
No, look, I know General Austin. I worked for him when he was a brigadier general, and his credibility has never been great in the military.
In most cases, general officers are not thought of as people who are going to tell the truth about things that might embarrass them or their administration.
His loyalty is not to the truth.
Right.
This man is just straight up manufacturing nonsense.
Remember, Judge, very, very briefly, he actually was the one who was helping cook the books regarding the so-called success of the Obama administration against ISIS.
Serving the military-industrial complex, because remember, before he became Secretary of Defense, he was a Raytheon official. Right. His loyalties are no longer with the Army. His loyalties are to the military-industrial complex.
General Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial congressional complex.
Right.
And Austin is a product of that complex.
Remember that a fish rots from the head, not from the bottom. If you want the truth, get a soldier, sergeant, lieutenant, or junior captain and ask him, what do you think? You're going to get the truth. He'll tell you the truth, or she will tell you the truth.
The reality is that the Ukrainians are losing, the Russians are winning. There is no shortage of artillery. There is no shortage of tanks.
I think everybody in the military at lower levels knows exactly what goes on.
That's what's going on here. We're looking at the strategic defeat of Ukraine, and with it, strategic defeat of the United States and NATO.
Well, first of all, Judge, how frequently have we brought anyone in and held them accountable for having lied to Congress?
The last person prosecuted for lying to Congress was the New York Yankee pitcher Roger Clemens, who supposedly lied about the content of his urine. But they don't prosecute people for lying to Congress, and they never prosecute their own. The feds don't prosecute other feds for lying to Congress.
Yeah, well, if you're not going to prosecute, there's no accountability. Where there's no accountability, there's no performance. I don't think any of these general officers are worried in the least about being brought back and asked hard questions in the future when everything falls apart. So that's the first thing. Secondly, many of these people convince themselves over time that they have a duty to lie. It's my duty to go in there and support the president and his policies. No, it's not. That's wrong.